So many courts are closed, but what are your legal rights during the coronavirus pandemic? With us now is attorney Ryan McGuigan. He is a former prosecutor, former assistant state's attorney, also a defense attorney right now and a frequent guest here on Face the State. Ryan, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm on the road today.
That's all right, but you're not driving, we can say. Driving and Skyping is never good, but we appreciate you pulling over for that. So first of all, what happens if a person gets arrested tonight? Normally you'd be arraigned the next day. Does that still all happen? Is the legal system still working?
The constitutional requirements are still being met. So if you are arraigned, if you are arrested, you're going to be arraigned within 72 hours. The state has done a great job in converting our entire criminal justice system almost to full video hearings entirely within just a few short days. So your constitutional rights are still being protected by the state. You can have a hearing before a judge. I have done 3 of them in this month. It's very difficult, but we're getting it done.
What about trials?
Right now, there are no trials scheduled. What is happening with both federal and state courts is the administrators are continuing most of the things out to June, July, and they're really just telling everybody it's an open date. We right now don't know anything. However, we will come back to you in May, June to see whether or not we're going to open up courts again.
So let's say a person came to you and they own like a clothing store or something. They want to reopen during this shutdown, but they're told they're not essential. And they argue, well, what about a gun shop? They're open. What about this liquor store being open? What would you, well, first of all, would you take on that client? What would your argument be?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be an argument at this point. At this point, it would be an appeal to the executive. So you'd have to, I most likely would have contact somebody over at OPM to appeal the decision that my business is not essential, and then explain to Governor Lamont's office why it would be. And that would be the most effective way to do that, the quickest way to do it.
Do you think you could be successful in persuading some people?
I think that the governor's office is very persuadable. They're very reasonable people, and I think everybody's doing their best to do their best for everybody, and that's something certainly that the governor's office would probably undertake. And as long as it wasn't going to cause a major disruption, I'm sure that they would make an exception here and there.
How has the shutdown impacted lawyers across Connecticut like yourself?
It has been brutal for all of us, and I know there's a lot of people chuckling that lawyers are out of business, but that's pretty much what has happened. With everything moved 3 months, there are no arrests, there's nothing moving. We're essential businesses that really don't have a heck of a lot of business because there's not much to do. I've been at my office every day this week for about 3 or 4 hours just to keep the lights on. But we are doing, you handle the cases that you have, but there's nothing new coming in right now because everybody's just shut down. We're all to standstill. There
are some places that are, some towns and cities that are saying that they will fine people for violating social distancing orders. If a person were to be arrested or fined this, do they have any legal standing in terms of fighting it?
They would have legal. Eventually a court is going to open up, and eventually you're going to have a hearing, and eventually you can explain why you were violating the order. And that is all you get in court. You get a reasonable chance to explain yourself. And if you don't explain yourself well, you'll have to pay that fine.
We have a viewer who tried to go to Rhode Island and was turned around by state police. Rhode Island told him, you cannot enter. You have no business being here. Do we have any legal rights to go through that state anyway?
That you do. You do. And I would say that the governor of Rhode Island would have to explain that later. Right now, you're not going to get into Rhode Island because they are guys with guns, and they're going to stand there and say, you can't come here. So your legal redress would be going to court after the emergency is over and questioning why the governor decided to do that.
What kind of legal advice do you have for people out there who are perhaps considering some sort of family restructuring, a divorce or something like that?
Right now, what would I say? We had, I think, 81 arraignments last weekend for domestic violence cases, and it seems as though that the alcohol sales are exploding, and it's leading to or contributing to a lot of domestic violence cases and a lot of disruption. And so the first thing I would do is tell everybody to put down the booze and try to perhaps take a walk. Because people are getting cooped up with one another that they're not normally cooped up with, and it's causing a lot of interpersonal problems. And so the legal advice is to deal with your interpersonal problems.
Certainly can be difficult. All right, Ryan McGuigan, former assistant state's attorney and defense attorney with Ryan McGuigan in downtown Hartford. We appreciate you joining us, and we will see you in person on this program before long, we hope.
We certainly hope so. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Stay safe and stay healthy. Finally today, it is Easter Sunday, and we leave you with a fitting moment of calm for this day. We love these moments of calm because it's a time to take a deep breath and enjoy the beauty of our great state of Connecticut. This is the Our Lady of Lourdes Shrine in Litchfield, shot earlier this week. And remember, we are in this together, and we will get through this together. Have a great Easter Sunday, everybody. CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley is next.